Hello children, today we are going to start a new chapter, Magnetism and Matter, and in this chapter we are going to discuss magnetism first. What is magnetism? See, magnetism is a matter, is a property due to which a substance has a natural property to attract other objects toward itself, right? And all such objects which are exhibiting magnetism, they are called magnets. We have got a fair experience with magnets. Magnets are used all over the place. They are used in gramophone, they are used in recorders, they are used all over the place. In fact, compasses are very common. We use it for locating what? Directions or position in at different places on earth, right? Very common. Now, a substance which exhibits magnetism is called a magnet. So, what is a magnet? We will understand what is a magnet. Magnet is a substance which exhibits attractive property, or a substance exhibiting magnetism is called a magnet. You can say like this also. Okay, let's define. So, a substance showing attractive property is called a magnet. So, how many types of magnets you have, children? Types of magnets, and then we have temporary magnets. Children, generally we deal with two types of magnets. One is permanent magnet, the other is temporary magnet. A permanent magnet is the one which occurs naturally as a magnet. For example, lodestone, right? Magnetite. This comes in the shape of a bar, or we can also have it in the shape of a horseshoe. This is what we call is a horseshoe magnet. We have been using it very often. You have seen a number of devices we have been using it, right? Bar magnet, as the name implies, in the shape of a bar, and is the most commonly used magnet that we see in our physics labs. So these are permanent magnets. Then you have temporary magnets. Temporary magnets are basically what? Electromagnets. And children, we discuss about these magnets in detail when we discuss magnetic effects of currents. Clear? So we will be discussing this chapter about magnets which are permanent in nature, right? Now, a magnet has got certain properties that we call properties of magnet. The first property of magnet is that whenever you suspend a magnet freely, it will always point along what? Geographic north, south. Not exactly along geographic north, south, but at a very small angle around 6 degrees with the geographic north and south. Clear? The compasses which you used are based basically on this property, right? In fact, for sea voyages, for centuries and centuries, compasses have been what? Used. Clear? About 400 years before Christ era started, there is a story goes when cattle grazers were grazing the cattle at the mountains, and then they had wooden shoes fitted with nails, and they found the nails were getting stuck in the what? Mountains. So they found that the mountains were containing what? Natural magnets, which has attractive properties. Clear? So we have got very long association with magnets. Now the magnets have a certain property, like we said. The first property is, listen carefully, the first property is that when a magnet is suspended freely, it points along geographic north and south. This is the first property. The second property is that if you take a magnet, suppose I consider this as a magnet, so it has got its north and south pole. Suppose I decide to break into two parts, and then I check again, I will have a north and south pole. Now suppose I break this one into smaller parts, and again I check, I will find that they are acting as magnets. I go on breaking this to the smallest possible size. If you can see it in the camera, you will find that even this tiny magnet also has got its north and south poles, meaning north and south poles of a magnet cannot be separated, right? This is a second property. Now third important property is that suppose I have two magnets, irrespective of their shapes and sizes. Suppose one is a big magnet, the other is a small magnet, and if the north poles come together closer, they will repel. But if the north pole and south pole come closer, they will attract. So similar pole will repel and opposite poles will attract. Okay, so let's say this, whereas opposite poles attract. So I've written these properties in the board. A freely suspended magnet always points along geographic north-south direction. North and south poles cannot be separated, and similar poles what? Repel, whereas opposite poles attract. Now we'll be saying, we'll be briefly explaining these properties. In fact, the first two, because the third one is an experimental property. You can experiment and see why a magnet always points along north-south direction. Children, remember, Earth acts as a giant bar magnet. Explanation now. First explanation. Why a freely suspended magnet points along north-south direction? Let's understand this. The reason is Earth acts as a bar magnet. We will be discussing this in terrestrial magnetism later on, but briefly. And we find that south pole of Earth's magnetic field points towards geographic north. So this is geographic north and this is south. So we find that south pole of Earth's magnetic field points here like this. Like this. South pole of Earth's magnetic field, we write what? SM, Earth's magnetic field. And the north pole points very close to south pole. Remember, it is not exactly along north-south, but it is close to north-south. So you can say almost it is along north-south. Now, if we suspend a magnet, then what will happen? The north pole of the magnet will be attracted by the south pole. Yes? So, the north pole will be pointing towards south of Earth, meaning towards north of geographic north-south line, and the north pole of and the south pole of the magnet will be attracted by the north pole of magnetic field. So, the south pole will be pointing towards what? The southern part of the geographic north-south line. Clear? So, this magnet freely suspended points along north-south direction because south pole of Earth's magnetic field points toward geographic north and the north pole points toward geographic what? South. Is this clear? Okay. Let's see the explanation for the second property. The second property is north and south poles cannot be separated. Now why? Let's see explanation for the second property. Why north and south poles cannot be separated? In fact, there are many theories of magnetization. One of the theories says that a natural magnet or a permanent magnet is made up of molecular magnets, meaning it is made up of these tiny magnets. This is north pole and this is south pole. Each molecule acts as a magnet. So what will you say? Similarly, there will be many more. This is a magnified view. There will be very large number of molecular magnets. If you take 1 centimeter cube, then there will be around 10⁻23 what? Molecules which will be magnetic. And imagine all the north and south poles are aligned in the same direction. So what will you see? That along the length of the magnet, the north and south poles will cancel out each other. And in the end, what will you see? That this side there will be unutilized north poles and this side there will be unutilized what? South pole. So if I start breaking this bar magnet into small pieces, I will go on breaking, but how small I can break? I can maximum come down to the size of a molecule, and the molecule itself is also a magnet. Suppose I separated, which is nearly impossible, in the form of a molecule, the molecule is still a magnet. So north and south poles cannot be separated. However, there is something very interesting in this discussion. If you look at the magnet as a whole, this is how we are getting north, south, north, south, north, south. This is a molecular magnet, north, south, north, south. Another row, north, south, north, south, north, south, north, south, north, south. So you can see that along the length of the magnet, these north-south poles are neutralizing. But this I've got only what? North poles left. Suppose I have X north pole this side. So how many south poles are left this side? Unutilized. X only will be left this side. There will be as many north poles as many south poles. Clear? X south poles. Now this is very interesting. The as many north poles as many south poles. So suppose the north pole I say plus then the south pole will become what? Minus. So it becomes like a dipole. Remember the concept of electric dipole you did? This side you wrote plus q and this side you wrote what? Minus q. So this bar magnet as a whole is regarded as a what? Dipole. But what dipole? Magnetic dipole. Keep in mind. So every magnet has to have what? A dipolar character. There will be as many north poles as many south poles. Be it an electromagnet or be a permanent magnet, there will be dipole moment. Now, the number of unneutralized poles is called pole strength. We will be using this term, pole strength. Pole strength is like charge, where charge is plus q and minus q. So, number of unneutralized north poles, we write qm, and same number of unneutralized south poles will also be there, right? So, we see the analogy here that there will be as many north poles as many south poles, and the number of unneutralized poles is called pole strength. So, we conclude here, children, that a bar magnet will act like what? A dipole, magnetic dipole. Why? Because it will have as many unneutralized north poles here, because these poles are not neutralized, these ones are neutralized, as many unneutralized south pole, and the number of unneutralized poles is called pole strength. So, for a bar magnet, this pole strength will be similar to having what? Charge. Clear? So, remember the analogy that this bar magnet will act as magnetic dipole, and qm, which is pole strength, will act like what? A charge. So, we saw the explanation for the first two parts, and we also learnt a new term which is pole strength. Pole strength is same as charge, meaning for a magnet, pole strength qm will be same as q for electric dipole. Clear? And the third property is evident. You can bring two magnets, north and north will repel, south and south will repel each other. Okay? Now, children, we will be seeing magnetic field lines of a permanent magnet. Magnetic field lines. Children, what are magnetic field lines? We have already seen magnetic field lines in case of electromagnets. Similarly, we have electric field lines in case of a permanent magnet also. Whenever there is a magnetic field, there has to be magnetic field line. Clear? Now, magnetic field lines due to a dipole, magnetic dipole here, like a bar magnet. I will be using this term magnetic dipole. So, when I say magnetic dipole, you have to understand it is a bar magnet. It could be even a horseshoe magnet, but generally I am referring to a bar magnet. So, magnetic field lines, you know the definition already you have done. Magnetic field line is a line or a curve so that a tangent drawn at any point gives the direction of magnetic field at that what point. Clear? Now, let us see. So, this is north pole and this is south pole. We have already done the direction of magnetic field is from north pole away from the north pole into the south pole, right? And in case of a bar magnet here, magnetic field lines are travelling from north pole into the south pole, right? At the center they are straight lines and more crowded. Now, this is another field line. Clear? These lines are more or less straight, and the bending starts when you move away from the two ends, like this. Clear? Now, we go slightly more away, then we see the line is even more curved, something like this. Now, if we go on the side lines, actually these will form closed loops, but they will be big loops. But when you move away like this, you find the lines are forming what? Closed loops out here. Right, and then we have more lines like this, and all these lines will be going away from the north pole and entering into the south pole. entering into the south pole and going away from the north pole. So these are magnetic field lines. If you want to draw Gaussian surfaces, here there will be closed circles and away they will be more staggered because the field lines are far away. You can clearly see the lines are more closely packed, so Gaussian surface will be like a circle. Far away the lines are more separated, so they will be more staggered. Clear? So magnetic field lines are the lines which are starting from north pole and going into the south pole. It's very interesting to know that these lines are forming closed loops. They are forming like what? Closed loop. We just now said that this bar magnet is actually like a dipole, right? But then it is different from electric dipole. In many ways that we will be discussing, these magnetic lines you can see here, they are forming closed loops. Outside they are travelling from what? They are travelling from north pole into the south pole, out here. But inside they are travelling from what? South pole to the north pole. Very important to understand. So we are defining what a magnetic field lines. So children, magnetic field is line or a curve such that a tangent drawn at any point to the line shows direction of magnetic field at that point. Clear? Now magnetic lines due to bar magnet, here they emerge from the north pole and enter the south pole inside the magnet, outside the magnet. However, inside the magnet they travel from south pole to the north pole, right? Now magnetic lines are more crowded near the ends. That means the field is strong near the ends and decreases as you move away from the magnet along the length or sideways in both the cases. Clear? Number 3, they form closed loops. Very important. Electric field lines do not form closed loops, but your magnetic field lines are forming what? Closed loops. You can see that these magnetic lines of force they behave exactly in the same manner as the magnetic field lines are behaving in case of a solenoid. So this bar magnet is acting like what? Solenoid, right? Pattern of the lines is exactly same. Magnetic field lines do not cross each other, they do not intersect each other, because if they intersect, for example here, then at one given point how many tangents they can draw? 2, means at a given point P there are 2 magnetic fields, which is impossible, right? So we need to keep in mind these properties. We will be writing properties of magnetic lines of force. Okay. So here are the properties, children. They form closed loops, which you can see in the diagram. They travel from north pole to south pole here, outside the magnet, but inside they travel from south pole to the north pole. Tangent drawn at any point to the field gives direction of magnetic field. Suppose at this point I want to know direction of magnetic field, I just draw a tangent like this, north pole to south pole, give the direction of the magnetic field. Clear? They do not intersect each other. I already explained, because we intersect, that means there will be 2 magnetic fields at the same point, which is absurd. And then intensity of magnetic field is directly proportional to field lines, meaning more closely packed the field lines are, the stronger will be the magnetic field. Okay. So these are the properties. You can take a screenshot and write these properties. Okay, right? All right, children. A small point that we need to understand here: difference between electric dipole and magnetic dipole. We know that a bar magnet acts as a magnetic dipole because it has as many north poles as many south poles. And what is the electric dipole here? Electric dipole, you have a positive charge here plus q, and you have a negative charge here minus q. You can clearly see that the 2 poles are never what? Separable, means monopoles do not exist. So what is the first point? Here first point is that a dipole has monopoles, like a plus charge and a minus charge. You can it is already separate, whereas no monopoles exist in magnetic dipole. All right. Point: monopoles exist in electric dipole, whereas no magnetic monopoles exist. Here always we have north and south poles. So go on breaking down to even the molecular size, but in this case we already have 2 separate charges. One is plus q and the second is minus q. Clear? Now the second point, children. In case of electric dipoles, you can see there is no medium, right? They are separated by air or free space. But in case of magnetic dipole, there is always a medium. Very important definition, very important difference. That in case of electric dipole, there may not be an intervening medium, but in case of magnetic dipole, there is always an intervening medium. Okay, medium always exists. So we saw this important point that in case of electric dipole, intervening medium is not necessary. There could be vacuum between these two because they are already isolated. But in this case, there is always an intervening medium, right? Now the third point, which is very significant, is in case of the field lines. Let's see here. Suppose you have a charge plus Q here and you have a minus Q out here. You know that electric field lines, they never form closed loops. They start from positive charge, plus Q here, minus Q here. They start from here positive and they terminate into negative, like this. So they do not form what? Continuous loops. They are not coming back. They are terminating. They are going from positive into the negative. But magnetic field lines, you can see outside they are starting from north and going into the south, but inside they are going from south into the north. This is one very important basic difference, that electric field lines, in case of a dipole, they do not form continuous loops. But here the magnetic field lines always form continuous loops. Okay, so we will be writing it down. Number 3. So here children, we have written the third point difference. Field lines due to electric dipole do not form continuous what? Closed loops, where magnetic field lines form what? Closed continuous loops. Clear? So you understood this concept of difference between the electric dipole and magnetic dipole. Nevertheless, the fact remains that the bar magnet will act like what? A dipole. So just like electric dipole had electric dipole moment, similarly a magnetic dipole or a bar magnet will have a magnetic dipole moment also. So we will be discussing what is magnetic dipole moment. Okay. Then here we are going to discuss magnetic dipole moment. Its symbol is small m or Pm. Let us understand the analogy, means how does it compare to electric dipole. In case of electric dipole, we had children plus Q charge and we had minus Q charge, if you remember, and we had taken the distance between the two monopoles as 2L, right? Now electric dipole moment of this system was P is equal to Q into 2L, right? In the same manner, if you have a bar magnet here, let's see, this is north pole and this is south pole, and we understood it that for a bar magnet the pole strength is analogous to what? Analogous to charge. So this is pole strength for north pole and this is pole strength for south pole, because just like plus Q and minus Q, here we have Qm, Q for magnetic and Q for magnetic. We will not be writing what? Plus and minus, but you have to understand that the north pole is analogous to positive charge and south pole is analogous to negative charge. Clear? Now in this case, we consider the length of the magnet as 2L. Just like Q into 2L is equal to electric dipole moment, in the same way Qm into 2L will be magnetic dipole moment M. It is also written as Pm. Clear? So you have to know this, that product of pole strength Qm and length of the magnet is known as magnetic dipole moment M or Pm. Okay, so let us define it. Clear? So Pm or M is equal to Qm into 2L. I will be using this concept of M or PM very often, magnetic dipole moment, right? And its unit is ampere meter square. Okay. So instead, what is magnetic dipole moment? It is similar to electric dipole moment here. Just like we have P is equal to Q into 2L, we have PM or small m is equal to QM into 2L. Clear, children? Now we'll proceed to find out intensity of electric field to a bar magnet at a point on the axis and also at a point on the perpendicular bisector. But before I tell you that, before I go into the derivation, I want to understand magnetic field due to a pole. Magnetic field due to a pole. Now remember that when I look at a dipole, then this QM is analogous to what? Charge Q. QM has same significance in charge in case of electric dipole. And you know that electric field is directly proportional to Q by R square. Or I can also say like this, electric field is directly proportional to Q due to point charge, and electric field due to point charge inversely proportional to square of distance. We have already done. Combining these two results, we get E is directly proportional to Q by R square, right? And then we said E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. So this is intensity of electric field due to point charge. Now when you calculate magnetic field due to a pole at a point, then remember we have for a bar magnet, children, for a bar magnet, if you see the analogy, for a bar magnet, Q is same as Q magnetic, clear? And electric field is similar to magnetic field. So B is directly proportional to what? QM by R square. In place of Q there, I am writing what? QM, pole strength. R is our resistance, and B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi epsilon 0 QM by R square. Now this is an important result. This is magnetic field due to a given pole strength QM at what distance? R. If I can imagine a pole out here, this is a pole having pole strength QM, then at distance R, what will be the field? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught QM by R square. And you already know what is QM. QM is permeability of free space. We had already done 4 pi into 10 power minus 7, right? So if I compare these two equations, we can also see here that 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is equivalent to what? Mu naught by 4 pi. Clear? So whenever I will be using equations for magnetic dipole, I will be drawing this analogy. Clear? So let us write this analogy or similarity between electric dipole and a magnetic dipole. Okay? Analogy. We will be seeing analogy between electric dipole and magnetic dipole. When I am saying magnetic dipole, I am talking about a bar magnet, and this is magnetic dipole. Let us see what is similarity. If I use charge here, then the equivalent quantity is pole strength. Clear? Then we have 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 for electric dipole will be same as mu naught by 4 pi, okay, where mu naught is permeability of free space and epsilon naught is what? Permittivity of free space, which I have already done both of these constants. Now next is dipole. Electric dipole, P equals to Q into 2L, and its analogy is M or PM, which is QM into 2L. I hope you all understanding it now. You can see the analogy. Now next we have electric field at a point on the axis. At a point on the axis, you've already done. Electric field at a point on the axis is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2p by r cube if r is very large compared to L, right? Now if I try to seek its analogy here, magnetic field at a point on the axis due to bar magnet, then 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 is what? Mu naught by 4 pi, right? And 2p is similar to what? M by r cube. Very easy to relate. Then we have at perpendicular bisector or equatorial line, electric field is at a perpendicular bisector is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught p by r cube. Here also r is very large compared to L. You know the meaning of this. Distance is very large compared to distance between the two dipole. Now if I compare it, magnetic field at a point on the perpendicular bisector, then it will be mu naught by 4 pi m by r cube. So very easy to relate these terms, children, if you understand the analogy between electric dipole and magnetic dipole. Actually all these two results which you have written will be deriving, and we will see how exactly we are coming to this conclusion, right? Now we have torque. Torque in case of electric dipole, tau is equal to, we have P cross E. Now its analogy for a bar magnet is torque is equal to M cross B. See the result here. In place of P I have written M, in place of electric field I have written what? Magnetic field. So these terms, actually the analogy is between electric dipole and magnetic dipole. Okay, so copy it down. Now we are going to discuss magnetic field to a bar magnet at a point on the axis. Imagine we have a bar magnet, its length is what? 2L, and you want to estimate magnetic field at a point P at what distance? R from it. Clear? You know the direction of magnetic field to north pole will be away from the pole, and to the south pole will be towards the pole. So this is Bn and this is Bs. You can see both the fields in opposite direction. Clear? And from the diagram you can also see that Np will be how much here? R minus L, this distance. And how much will be Sp? R plus L. This is R and this is L. So this is R minus L, this is R plus L, because all the distances are measured from the center of the dipole, right? It is the same concept which I have done in case of electric dipole. And therefore if I say how much is Bn, magnetic field to the north pole will be mu naught by 4 pi Qm by Np square, which is mu n by 4 pi Qm by R minus L square. Clear? And similarly magnetic field to the south pole, Bs is equal to mu naught by 4 pi Qm by Sp square, which is mu naught by 4 pi Qm by R plus L whole square. So we know both the fields, and therefore I want to calculate how much the net field. Therefore net magnetic field is B will be equal to how much, children? Bn minus Bs. And Bn minus Bs, if you do, there you can see that 4 pi epsilon naught mu naught by 4 pi is common in both, and Qm is also common. So we can write mu naught into Qm by 4 pi is common, and then we have 1 by R minus L whole square minus 1 by R plus L whole square, right children? And then B can be written as mu naught Qm by 4 pi. If we simplify, then it will be R plus L whole square minus R minus L whole square and this is a minus b into a plus b is what? A square minus b square, so it becomes r square minus l square whole square. If you simplify this numerator, children, how much you get? 4rl. So b becomes mu naught by 4 pi 4rl qm divided by r square minus l square whole square. And then we will be separating this qm into 4r into l. I can write here b equals to mu naught by 4 pi qm into 2l into 2r, right, divided by r square minus l square whole square. Simple algebra, very easily can simplify. And you know that qm into 2l is how much? Magnetic dipole moment. So here I will say qm into 2l is equal to how much? Magnetic dipole moment m. So we get here b equals to mu naught by 4 pi 2 mr divided by r square minus l square whole square. So children, this is one important result that we got, and we can discuss the special case when r is very large compared to l. When r is very large compared to l, I bring this result out here and simplify. Then r square minus l square will be nearly equal to how much? R square. And therefore children, b will be mu naught by 4 pi epsilon naught mu naught by 4 pi 2m by l square I can ignore. So r square whole square will be how much? R to the power 4. If you cancel out one r from here, then b at a point on the axis will be children mu naught by 4 pi 2m by r cube. So children, this is the price expression we got. In vector form we can write b at a point on the axis will be in vector form mu naught by 4 pi 2m r vector divided by r vector to the power 4, right. So actually this is only of academic interest for us. We will be using this what? In the numericals. So we got magnetic field at a point on the axis, and remember this is the equation I had quoted when I was comparing. I was seeing the analogy between electric dipole and magnetic dipole. Okay, so you can take these notes. All right. Here we want to calculate magnetic field at a point P on the perpendicular bisector. At a point on the perpendicular bisector, same assumptions. Distance of point P from the center is r, length of the magnet is 2l, and the point is located along perpendicular bisector. Now field due to the north pole will be away from it, Bn, and this will be magnetic field to the south pole towards it, right. You can see this triangle is like an isosceles triangle. If this angle is theta, then this angle is theta, this angle will also be theta, right. Similarly, if this angle is theta, this will be alternate angle theta, and from the given diagram you can see that cos theta will be equal to this will be root over r square plus l square. So base by hypotenuse r square plus l square. Clear? Now from the diagram children, NP will be equal to SP will be equal to root over r square plus l square, right. Field due to north pole is away, so you can see, and due to south pole is into it. These two fields will be superimposed to produce the net magnetic field. If I resolve Bn, then its vertical, the horizontal component will be Bn cos theta, vertical component will be Bn sin theta. If I resolve Bs, its horizontal component is Bs cos theta, and vertical component is Bs sin theta. Clear? So you can see along perpendicular direction they will be what? Cancelling each other. Why? Because Bn will be equal to Bs, and both will be mu naught by 4 pi epsilon naught Qm by root over r square plus L square whole square, right? So if you square the root is removed, then how much do you get? Q naught by 4 pi Q by r square plus L square. So obviously along vertical direction there is no field. Net vertical field will be how much, children? By will be equal to Bn sin theta minus Bs sin theta, and how much will be that? 0. Means along vertical direction there will be no magnetic field. You can see the net magnetic field directed what? Horizontally along the what? Axis of the bar magnet. So I will say net magnetic field B is equal to along x axis, that is Bn cos theta plus Bs cos theta. If you put in the value, children, then B will be Bn is mu naught upon 4 pi m by r square plus L square, and cos theta will be how much, children? L by root over r square plus L square. And see, the same term is repeated because Bn is equal to Bs, so I can multiply it by 2, right? So I can get here B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi, this is Qm na, 2 Qm into L divided by r square plus L square. This power is 1 and this power is half. If you multiply, then how much will this power? 3 by 2. And children, you already know 2 Qm into L is how much? Magnetic dipole moment. So I will say here, but 2 Qm into L is equal to magnetic dipole moment M. If I put this value, then how much do I get? B. B is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi M divided by r square plus L square to the power 3 by 2. So children, this I got. I read B perpendicular. I got one value of magnetic field at any point on the perpendicular bisector. And then we have a special case here, children. We have, if r is very large compared to L, then r square plus L square will be nearly equal to how much? R square. So you put here r square will be r square to the power 3 by 2 will become how much? R cube. So B perpendicular will be mu naught by 4 pi M by R cube. Clear? So these derivations are more or less like we have seen in case of the electric dipole. The only difference being that here the two poles are not separable. Okay. So go through these derivations, children. In this video we are going to discuss only this much. Okay.